live count is ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. We're here with another fairly casual chatting stream where I'm going to learn the lore of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Do you think Sora tops Riku and Kairi tops Sora, or is the sandwich a different configuration?
Uh, hmm. Riku tops Sora, Kairi tops Riku.
No, so as we're going to learn, the thruple is very much Sora focused in that Kairi and Riku are not really that interested in each other.
I mean, look, Sora just screams bottom energy to me. I don't know what it...
He is very much a bottom, yes, but at the same time, they can't, in many ways, Kingdom Hearts 1's story can be seen as a competition between Kairi and Riku to decide who can top Sora. So yes, hello there everyone. Shall we talk about the lore of Kingdom Hearts?
I have since gone back and read a summary, which I, mostly understand, so... Shouldn't be...
Okay, so do you have any questions? Let's start there.
Um... I mean, not really, not, why am I stuck on that? Trying to think. Not necessarily, I don't think. It's sort of, one of those things of Kingdom Hearts 1 is before the story gets too complicated.
It is pretty straightforward in many ways, yes. It's very much a classical hero's journey, except it features shonen anime and also Donald Duck.
I wonder if the story would be as confusing if it weren't for the Disney aspect of it.
No, because the confusion isn't really where the Disney aspect comes from. Or rather, the Disney aspect isn't really where the confusion comes from. It's more the shonen anime aspect where the confusion comes from, as is tradition. So,
but I feel like people would be fine, like, understanding the shonen aspect of it if there weren't also the Disney aspect of it. Like, I feel like that muddles things for people.
Well, yeah, I think in the sense that people don't realize that it's a shonen anime first and the Disney stuff is just tacked on. Because that is very much the case. It is absolutely a shonen anime where Disney stuff is just tacked on. But people don't really entirely understand that. Like, I think the biggest example of this was, in fact, Lanny. Because he was a bit disappointed that Kingdom Hearts 3 was a lot more of the shonen anime aspects and not as much of the absolute nonsense Disney aspect. Because, like, the Disney aspect was very much not that important to the overall story. It's
Yeah.
just there to sort of. There's like maybe a couple of worlds where it's relevant early on, and in Kingdom. Early on, yes, and by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 rolls around, it's mostly just background events.
Mm.
Like they just go through the plot of Disney, but of the Disney properties, but with the rest of the story just taking place in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely not as straightforward as, or it's definitely not as complicated as people make it out to be in
Yeah.
many ways. That said, uh, that doesn't mean it's not. It's entirely uncomplicated because there's still a lot of the time travel nonsense
Yeah.
that comes up later. That's not going to be relevant right now,
Mm.
but yeah. What would you say is the most confusing part
I mean,
in
here.
the earlier series?
Yeah. Um. I mean, I guess the world building in general sort of thing of there being these various worlds.
Well, okay, you know what's funny? Let's start with the cosmology then, because it's
Yeah.
like it is kind of interesting because the you know what the impetus of the initial story is, right? They're
Um.
building a raft.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They are they are literally attempting to travel to another planet
In
on
a
a raft.
raft. Right. Okay.
And the implication is that it could work. And the reason for that is that the cosmology is very confusing because it's not straightforward following the laws of physics. Certainly, it does have an element of following physical laws, but the way the cosmology works is that oceans just apparently transition into space.
Okay.
And the distances are much shorter. Stars are much smaller because stars are, in fact, more like it's much more the. It seems to be a much more geocentric cosmology, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stars are like the representation of the life force of the world, sort of.
Okay.
And as a result, if you destroy the world, the star gets extinguished, but not necessarily the other way around.
Right.
Which is which is why stars begin to go out. And like, there's the whole thing of Monstro, right? Monstro, the giant whale that is a world. He
That.
kind of swims around in the cosmic sea. So I think the implication seems to be that these worlds are more isolated pocket dimensions connected by a sea that where you go far enough along the water just transitions into cosmic ether.
Right. Okay.
So it's definitely a non-traditional cosmology,
Yeah.
which is to its credit. I think it's like you don't see a series just trying to do something like weird with the cosmology very often nowadays. Uh, but yeah, the impetus of the story is that they're building a raft, and while of course you have to remember they are children
Yes.
at this point. I think I think Riku is a year older, so I believe Sora is 14, Sora and Kairi are 14, Riku is 15.
Hmm.
And of course there's the cast of Final Fantasy X there for reasons.
Reasons, yeah.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy characters are kind of tacked on as well. I think what Nomura was trying to do is he had a cool story he was trying to tell, and he wanted the flavor of the Final Fantasy and Disney characters, but they were never his priority,
Yeah.
at least from what I can tell. Uh, well, with the exception of good old Donald Duck and Goofy and King Mickey,
You mean the
which is
tyrant King Mickey?
well. So here's the thing: the implication is that King Mickey is not. Is he a tyrant? Yes. Is he a conqueror? But he's not so much a tyrant as he is a conqueror, because the implication is that he is the first of his name.
Right.
We'll learn this later, but the implication is that he's the first. He conquered and unified the various lands of Disney. In a so basically he wasn't born to it. He didn't inherit anything.
Right.
So yeah, that's the interesting aspect of it is like I mean considering the fact that he studied under Tlaw Yensid himself. You see what I did there?
Hmm.
Because Yensid is Disney backwards, so I decided his first name is Tlaw. That's right, Trafalgar Law Yensid. Disney One Piece crossover confirmed. But yeah, when it comes to the cosmology of it's one of those things where you realize, oh, this is a very high magic system
Hmm.
where belief and thought is much more important than physical reality.
Right.
It's one of those things where if enough people believe in fairies, then fairies come back to life or are in existence. Uh, though we're not going to get Tinkerbell involved for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
This is an E-rated game, everyone. But yeah, so our story begins with the very simple thruple jealousy, in which, let's be real, it is a thruple, but only because Sora is an indecisive harem protagonist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Riku and Kairi have compromised to a certain extent. Well, actually, at this point in the story, they have not compromised. They are very much. You know what? I like to imagine that while they get along in front of Sora, behind his back, they're like constantly like spitting venom into each other.
Mm.
No, like the thing is, Kairi seems nicer than that, but she definitely seems like she has some of the snark going on.
What's the name of the Final Fantasy X girl?
Right, Yuna is not here. Uh, because the world is ending and she just keeps dancing, is the thing.
I feel like I remember there being a girl there.
That's Selfie.
Right,
So,
that's who I was talking about.
right. What's your question about Selfie?
I mean, it wasn't a question. I was more just gonna say it feels like Kairi shit talks Riku to Selfie.
That is a possibility, considering the fact that they're apparently schoolmates.
Mm.
Which that is another interesting thing. Sora's a middle school dropout, which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
Because like, school exists. We know this because there's a scene later on. Not only does school exist, Sora has living parents.
Yeah.
It's just very, very weird that they never come up. Like, he never
Yeah,
misses them
like
or is homesick.
doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't Sora's mum call him in for dinner in the first game?
Yes, she has a voice line. She is the only. She is the only voice line adult in the series, in the traditional sense, outside of the magical wizards.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's voiced magical wizards, but she is the only mundane adult in the series to get a voice line,
Mm-hmm.
which is, and it's one voice line in the first game, and then she's never mentioned again.
Yeah.
And Sora's dad is mentioned in Birth by Sleep, I think. But like, yeah, he has living parents, and just apparently the parents. I kind of feel bad for the parents, assuming they're like. Oh wait, never mind. That's a spoiler for later. But yeah. So their school exists because Kyrie and Selfie are schoolmates and apparently pretty close friends. But yeah, it's very funny to me that they included all of the Final Fantasy X characters except Yuna.
Mm.
Or well, all the main like initial island characters. I guess what they're trying to imply is that Final Fantasy X, the events of them haven't happened yet.
Right.
Because Tidus, Selfie, and Waka were the initial islanders before Yuna showed up and Orin as well, and things went to hell. Speaking of which,
As they often
Cloud.
do in Final Fantasy games.
Yes. Speaking of which, Cloud shows up in Kingdom Hearts 1. And
Yep.
Cloud is very interesting. How familiar are you with Final Fantasy VII?
Mostly just the machine abridged.
Honestly, that's enough. Because the Machina Bridge is actually a very faithful. It's funny. It's the added comedy, but at the same time, the Machina Bridge is a very faithful adaptation of the core plot.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that DBZA eventually just became a retelling of the story rather than a parody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can consider Machina Bridge as mostly canon. So
Okay.
yeah. So they kind of combined Cloud and Vincent in this
Yes,
game because I
I
believe
did hear that. Yeah.
is because he has Vincent's cloak. He's essentially wearing Vincent's costume. Uh, and the reason for that is I believe initially Vincent was the planned
Planned
Final Fantasy
character.
VII
Yeah.
character. And it also makes sense with how he would have been in hell, literal purgatory, emotional purgatory, uh, with Hades being involved. So, um, yeah, Vincent was initially intended, but then they realized, wait a second, Cloud is a much more popular character,
Yeah.
and also Tetsuya Nomura realized, well, I should use my actual human son in this series at some point.
Hmm.
Well, no, not his actual son. Is like uh Tetsuya Nomura has a lot of children, but he's lost custody of most of them to Square Enix. However, Sora is the only one he has sole custody over, and as a result, Sora is his favorite. Which, like, we always give him crap for being overly a perfectionist
Hmm.
and, like, taking forever to release new games. But the fact of the matter is, he has a lot of care and passion,
Yeah.
right? Kingdom Hearts is his baby. And I wonder if he regrets making the deal with Disney,
Hmm.
the proverbial deal with the devil,
Does seem like it could be quite limiting.
which is, I think, why he is sort of. He seems to be moving away from it,
Hmm.
from the Disney stuff. Like the core plot beats, especially by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 rolls around, is entirely focused on the Kingdom Hearts original characters. I don't think any Final Fantasy characters even showed up in Kingdom Hearts 3. So he's trying to move away. He's very much trying to do his own thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah,
Not to mention what's, in vogue for Disney likely changes a fair amount over, the development of the game.
yeah. For example, though sometimes Nomura is oddly predictive. For example, the secret boss of Kingdom Hearts 1 features lightsabers in a time before Star Wars was owned by Disney.
Wasn't the secret boss Sephiroth?
Sephiroth wasn't even a secret boss; he was just a boss.
Ah.
The secret boss is secret in the sense that he shows up in a place and circumstances where, unless you were like looking, you wouldn't find it. Whereas Sephiroth, he just shows up in the tournament bracket, right? Like
Yeah.
In in Hades, Olympus Coliseum world, essentially the main draw of that world is there's just a tournament, and you just and the point of it is to progress through the tournament. And so you can't really consider Sephiroth a secret boss when he's just part of the natural progression of the tournament. You know
Fair?
what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, fair.
Uh, but yeah, Cloud is a very interesting twist on things because it seems to be a sort of Cloud also seems to be in some sort of emotional purgatory. And do you know what's funny? I kind of wonder if some of the plot beats that some of the world building he did for Cloud actually made it into FF7 remake.
Hmm.
because there are some similarities. It almost feels like this cloud is one that exists between FF7 and FF7 Remake.
Yeah.
Uh, so Cloud is interesting. The timeline stuff is very interesting with the guest characters. For example, Hercules, the Olympus Coliseum.
Yeah.
This is in the middle of the events of the movie because because the events of Hercules the film, like the climax of it,
Yeah.
happens in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
So the Kingdom Hearts 1 essentially visits Hercules during what was a montage.
Right.
They show up during Herc's training montage in which he becomes increasingly famous.
Yeah.
But the Hydra and Meg and all that, that happens in the Kingdom Hearts 2. So they play around with that a lot. Like with the implication that well, it's weird because like there's an implication that Tidus has not experienced the events of Final Fantasy X yet,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the protagonists of Final Fantasy X-2 show up in Kingdom Hearts 2. So you can very much tell that while Nomura does care about the source material, it's very much not a one-to-one adaptation.
Yeah.
He's playing with it in like a good way. So yeah, it's very much a scenario where he has his story to tell, and everything else is just an embellishment or an accoutrement, as it were, if we want to get fancy. But yeah, essentially. Oh, one moment, please.
Yeah, there's not a huge amount for me to do here. I'm just sort of killing orcs. Because I can. Hi, friend. Bye, friend.
Yeah, I kind of have a. That was my. Anyway, I'll have to go again at around 7ish because. But I'll be back in like 5 seconds or 5 minutes, or a minute. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because he has a very simple story to tell in Kingdom Hearts 1, and it's just very funny to me how like big it grows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, it's very much a traditional hero's journey. Sora is chosen by the Keyblade itself. The Keyblade is its sentience and sapience are very much in question. Like it's very unclear.
Because
But
obviously it was meant to choose Riku.
so that is actually a different thing, entirely. Where we learn some stuff in Birth by Sleep. That it's not so much that it was meant to choose Riku, is that in the sense that Riku was meant to be a Keyblade wielder the whole time, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But so and the thing we have to make a distinction between is the idea of a Keyblade and the Keyblade.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
So
possible
Sora
to
got
wield
chosen
a
by.
it's possible for multiple people to wield a keyblade, but there is a very special keyblade that only one person can wield.
Well, technically it's two, because there's one for the realms of light and one for the realms of darkness.
Okay.
And guess who owns the Keyblades of the realms of darkness?
Are we going easy answer here or what?
What do you think the easy answer is?
Riku?
No. Who in the world of Kingdom Hearts do you think most represents the forces of darkness
Oh, is it
on
Ansem?
a meta level? Huh?
Is it Ansem?
No, it's Mickey Mouse.
Oh, of course it is.
You know, the truly the most bathed in darkness of all of them.
Yeah.
We don't know how many people he killed in his conquest of the world of Disney. But yeah, Mickey Mouse is the wielder of the Keyblade of Darkness. In fact, he was originally just a traditional Keyblade wielder, in that he had an inherited Keyblade from his master and/or father, Tlaw Yensit. But he was later chosen by the Keyblade of Darkness, which is the Kingdom Key, right? Like the iconic giant ass skeleton key looking thing.
Yeah.
That is the Keyblade. Not to be confused with the Greek Keyblade, which is the Greek letter key followed hyphen blade. Though they are related. We'll get into that later. Yeah, so straight up, the world is destroyed, right? The Destiny Islands are literally destroyed. And it's here we learn that death and destruction are a lot more fast and loose in this universe.
Right.
In the sense that when a world falls to darkness, it's not necessarily, the inhabitants aren't necessarily killed. The world itself isn't necessarily killed. It's just sort of put into limbo. One might even say emotional purgatory.
So when you say the Destiny Islands are destroyed, does that include Sora's parents?
Yes, but as I just said, they don't die.
Yeah.
But which is an important distinction, because apparently death is a mechanic. But it's different from the destruction that comes from a Keyblade, or from a world falling to darkness.
Right. So
So
the world doesn't fall to darkness, but it does get destroyed.
no, it falls to darkness.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's the distinction I'm talking about. There's very few worlds that actually get destroyed because they're very resilient. Because as we've established, the world is very much more like the universe of Kingdom Hearts is more conceptual and abstract than it is physical and substantial.
Right.
So it's almost as if, as long as the idea of the Destiny Islands remains alive, the world won't be destroyed. Sort of thing.
So sort of as long as there's somebody to remember it, it will. It
There's
always,
a possibility that it can come back. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I guess Sora, Kairi, and Riku fill that role. And some other characters who are spoilers.
Hmm.
But
wait, does that mean the Final Fantasy X cast just sort of dies?
yeah, more or less just sort of gets engulfed. Which, it's funny. That somewhat makes sense if we're assuming that this is pre Final Fantasy X. Which I'm not going to spoil Final Fantasy X for you because it's a genuinely good game, and I feel like it might be worth it to at least experience it through reading it, if not, or watching a playthrough of it, if not playing it. But yeah, so it actually is internally consistent with the lore of Final Fantasy X for them to sort of just be engulfed in this limbo.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the Destiny Islands are gone and Sora ends up in Traverse Town, where he meets the protagonist of Final Fantasy VIII, who I don't know why they decided to rename him.
Yeah, wasn't he named Squall and then they named him Leon?
Yes. Well, his name was Squall Leonhardt. So the explanation is that he just took the Leon from the Leonhardt as his given name. So it's not a completely out of the question. Also, in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 1 only, voiced by David Boreanaz.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
David Boreanaz is in Kingdom Hearts?
Yes. As the voice of Squall / Leon.
What the fuck? I'm now gonna have to re-listen to that.
Yeah, it's only Kingdom Hearts 1. He didn't come back for 2 and the subsequent games. But in Kingdom Hearts 1...
I imagine he was busy doing Bones.
Yes! Yeah, this is post-Angel, but it's right around the time when Bones was happening. Yeah, I was also like, oh my god, Angel the vampire / Sully the FBI agent is in Kingdom Hearts?
That is wild. Okay.
Yeah, I thought you knew this.
No! I knew about other, like, big names in the fucking cast. Like, I know they got, in... At least one of them, didn't they get Leonard Nimoy?
Leonard Nimoy is Xehanort.
Yeah.
Literally, he played Xehanort until his death. Christopher Lee!
Christopher Lee, yeah. Christopher Lee is in it.
Christopher Lee, Leonard Nimoy, Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Hamill...
Everyone.
Mark Hamill is less of a surprise, let's be honest.
He is less of a surprise, but at the same time, he literally does play Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sort of. Yes, so Mark Hamill, Leonard Nimoy, Christopher Lee. There's a bunch of others, right? Like Rutger Hauer later replaced Leonard Nimoy. So it's a star-studded cast, and
yeah.
David Boreanaz regrets not coming back.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's the kind of thing he necessarily regrets.
Even if it meant being listed in the cast alongside Christopher Lee and like Leonard Nimoy and the like.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he was distinctly busy with Bones from 2005 onwards, basically.
And now he's playing a Marine Navy SEAL again, for reasons.
I believe that's ending soon, because there's been talk of a Bones revival.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Look, I know it'd make me, like, a hypocrite, but I'd watch it.
Well, the thing about procedurals, right, is if the revival of any genre makes sense, it's of a procedural. Because, like, literally that's what... They're endless.
I mean, I just miss procedurals. There aren't enough of them anymore. Too many fucking shows are just 8 episodes, like 8 movie-length episodes, and that's it.
Yeah, I can see that. Considering the fact that my mother and grandmother spend most of their free time watching reruns of Law and Order and the like. Procedurals are very much in my blood. Uh, there was a Law and Order revival recently featuring Will Graham, aka the actor who played Will Graham in Hannibal.
Yeah. Does it count as a revival if it never stopped? I feel like NCIS and its fucking,
So okay, in the case of Law and Order, the branch of the series that was revived did stop.
right.
Because original Law and Order did stop. Law and Order SVU has been going on the entire time.
Yeah.
But original Law and Order stopped and then was revived recently. And I think like the first episode was Bill Cosby or something.
Oh, great. Okay.
But yeah, procedurals, it's very hard. I am still very upset at Bones,
For
the treatment for autistic character becoming serial killer
oh,
for
right. Okay. Yeah.
literally no reason.
Yeah. Okay.
I still watched the show after that, but
Yeah.
that just left a bad taste in my mouth.
No, I can get it. I can get it. It was a decision, taken out of sort of. Well, I mean, that was the season that was hit by the writer strike, so.
Ew, yeah, that makes sense in hindsight.
So, not exactly shocking in the end, is it? That it both wasn't set up very well and, wasn't a great decision to begin with.
Yeah, I just like it's very much a case of like it was nice to see an early example of autistic representation, even though I'm so okay, here's the problem. I like that was positive autistic representation right until the end.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I also kind of resent it
Elaborate.
because the vast majority of autistic people are not geniuses,
Ah, okay, yeah.
and that's the only sort of autistic representation you really see
Yeah,
is the autistic person who is essentially just a quirky genius.
yeah.
As an autistic person of average intelligence, I'm salty.
Hmm.
But yeah, overall, I think
I mean, from that time period, I'd honestly take what you can get in terms of positive rep.
yeah,
It's not something that showed up
yeah,
very often
but
in the mid 2000s.
yeah. But all things considered, it's not the worst thing in the world that there was some rep at all, even if it ended up not being positive at the end. But yeah, back to Kingdom Hearts on the subject of autistic rep. Well, Sora is something of a savant, but he's not really autistic. He's just a himbo. Oh, by the way, I'll be right back. I need to pick something up.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like there's only very certain sort of types of shows that, get more than sort of, I would say, 12 episodes a season now, and most of them are just not really my vibe. Um, Part of me wants to get into the Nathan Fillion propaganda show, but honestly, I'm mostly content just to watch fucking um, clips on like YouTube. Oh yeah, this is Mina Smoggle. I don't know why I forgot that. But yeah, I don't have much
Castle is a
interest.
fun show.
What was that?
Castle is a fun show.
I
It is
wasn't even
propaganda.
I wasn't even talking about that one. I was talking about the other one, the
Oh,
new
the
one.
rookie.
Yeah, the rookie.
No, that is just nonsense. I don't understand what the appeal of that is, other than the existence of Nathan Fillion.
Honestly, I've watched clips of it. It seems like a decent enough time.
I think my problem is that it's not really as fun.
Hmm.
It seems more serious than Castle, and it's just not what I'm. That's not my Nathan Fillion, if you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I don't know. I mean that might be the case in like the first season, but it definitely seems like it, gets a good sense of humor going later on. I mean, at one point, I think Nathan Fillion's character is like outside a house for some reason, and there's like um, a band in a garage, and they start singing a song called "Cop Cuties," and honestly, just the look on Nathan Fillion's face when they reappear like 2 seasons later is fucking hilarious.
Okay, a brick joke like that does seem funny. But yeah, overall, I just
Yeah, I mean, I'd
it's
I'd give that scene a search on YouTube anyway, both the first scene and the second scene, just because Nathan Fillion is just so very good at the acting thing.
he does do that pretty well, doesn't he?
Hmm.
But yes, back to the important thing. Disney that's just like my Japanese anime. Sorry, I'm eating because the last time I had a full meal was 23 hours ago.
Yeah, I should probably remedy that.
Yeah, oh, one moment, I just need to... Sorry, this should be the last interruption for now.
Go on.
Well, no, not quite yet. But yeah, um, where were we on the Kingdom Hearts train?
I feel like we got derailed when we were talking about David Boreanaz voicing Leon.
Yeah, it's weird because Leon is there, sort of taking the place of Cloud,
Yeah,
because he is accompanied by the core FF7 cast.
yeah, because it's
Aerith,
Aerith.
Sid, and
Who's the third one? There's one more with Leon.
and I have the wiki open. Traverse Town, Leon, Aerith.
Oh,
Sid.
Yuffie.
Yuffie doesn't show up until Kingdom Hearts 2. Oh, she is in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Yuffie. It was definitely Yuffie. I remember Yuffie.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, Aerith also is weird in Kingdom Hearts 1 because she's constantly alluded to as being special in a similar way to how she is in
7.
7. But all things considered, okay, now is my last interruption of the night. Hang on.
Yeah, how wild the David Boreanaz was in Kingdom Hearts 1. I honestly, something that I genuinely did not know.
So, while they're chatting with David Boreanaz, we see one of the first and only random NPCs get ganked.
Well, yeah, because Leon, if I'm remembering correctly, Leon fights Sora, regardless of if you win, you pass out. Because of course you do.
No, you just see a random dude in Traverse Town get turned into a Heartless. One of the only times we see that happen in the series.
Was he wearing a red shirt?
I think he's actually wearing a poofy European 14th century shirt.
Yeah.
Even the Heartless don't like the establishment. You know, I joke by calling it a thruple, but it very much seems like it's unrequited on Riku's end.
I mean, yeah, Sora is very much focused on Kairi for most of the game. If not all of the game.
And even in Kingdom Hearts 2, where the focus is a bit more on Riku, it's only because he's aware that Kairi is safe.
And, you know, Riku got locked behind the door of darkness.
With King Mickey, of all people.
I Sora didn't know Mickey for that long, but Mickey's the kind of guy you can instantly tell would resort to. Well, it's not necessarily cannibalism, is it? That's the thing. But you know, I'd buy that Mickey would murder and eat somebody in a survival situation.
Well, that's the interesting thing. The implication is that you don't need to eat in the world of darkness.
I think he'd still do it.
No, that's worse because he would do it even though he doesn't have to.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He'd still do it. You wouldn't need to, but he'd do it.
The most important thing to remember, though, is that time also passes weirdly. Mm. Are the sounds of chewing coming through?
Not really.
But yeah, Traverse Town is really the only relevant original world aside from Hollow Bastion, which is where Maleficent has made her base. The problem with that, however, is that it means there's a lot of Disney worlds in between.
Yeah.
And the Disney worlds are mostly just either retellings or prequels.
Mm.
That's actually very consistent, is that a lot of the stuff in Kingdom Hearts 1 are before the events of the movies, of the Disney movies, and then the events of the Disney movies happen in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's like that with Hercules, it's like that with The Little Mermaid. Um, it's like that with Beauty and the Beast as well. Because they made Beast in Hollow Bastion.
Okay. Was he taking a holiday?
More got isekai'd against his will.
Okay. It happens to the best of us.
I mean, if you go by demographics, it actually happens to the worst of us more
I
often
mean,
than not.
yeah.
Considering the kind of trash that gets isekai'd, it's like, huh.
I already checked the show's list for next season, and there is well, one of the ones that I did see was another one of those. Oh, I got transported to a new world with my entire class, and I got the weakest skills. Yay!
See, I really like the core, like, conceptually, that's cool.
But Isekai
Right?
never
Like,
does anything good with it.
yes, exactly. Because they always find a way to turn the conceptual thing into something that's just not as interesting.
I mean, part of the reason is because more often than not, they have the protagonist be this like fucking edgy outcast who, you know, fucking takes it badly that he's been shunned by the rest of the class and by this world, and it's just an edge
Especially
bag.
when they are very often condescending and blame everyone else for being an outcast rather than their own inability to socialize.
Yeah.
So they're not even relatable because it's like, oh, I'm only an outcast because I'm actually cooler than everyone else
Hmm.
and like care about real things and instead of stupid things like makeup and stuff. So yeah, it's very much it's an underdog. It's actually the story of an edgy teenager in the clothing of an underdog story.
Yeah.
So it can very much go either way. And most of the time, though, it goes one way.
Mm. I mean, that's part of the why I like Kagurabachi so much is because it says it's an edgy revenge quest when it's really, really, really not. It is a revenge quest, but Chihiro is not edgy.
It's the opposite of the standard, then.
Yeah. Like, he tries to be edgy, but yeah, he's just not allowed to be. It's honestly kind of funny.
How many people do you think were turned off from Kagurabachi by the memes of it being the greatest piece of writing ever made? before people realized, oh, it's actually kind of good.
Probably a fair few, which is really unfortunate and kind of why I really disliked those memes after the first, like, after I read the first chapter or two, because I was like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. And, people are ironically shitting on it. No, it's definitely a
It'll
series I'd,
probably
I'd
experience
recommend at
a,
this point.
it'll probably experience a major resurgence once the anime comes out.
I do think it'll get anime like a lot sooner than a lot of the new gen shonens have. Like I think it'll be like sort of Jujutsu Kaisen sort of levels quick.
It's because people are realizing, oh, when we do a seasonal, well animated shonen anime, it does really well. Especially if the source material is good. So we
Yeah.
should probably get on. Hell, if it's well animated enough, people don't even care whether the source material is that good. The Demon Slayer.
I was about to make the CL. Demon Slayer's not bad, but it's not the world beater that the anime makes it, or that people were calling it after the first season of the anime.
Episode 22, I believe it was.
19.
19. That one episode single handedly cemented Demon Slayer as a favorite.
Yeah.
Just goes to show you how good presentation can make even the blandest piece of meat appealing.
Yeah. I mean, we could also attribute same thing to Attack on Titan.
Ugh. There's still so many unironic fans of that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
How do you properly explain to someone why Attack on Titan is bad?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Now, we'll talk a bit more about Kingdom Hearts because I'm sure you'll have more questions later on. But just ask any Kingdom Hearts questions that come to mind as they come to mind, regardless of what we're actually playing or doing. But we do have to make a decision, somewhat, of how we're going to do Chain of Memories.
That's the card game.
Yeah.
We're gonna be.
It's not even a card game. It's an action RPG that uses cards in an extremely awkward and clunky battle system.
Well, we're gonna be playing it. Because as I said, I've got it on PS4. And I've got what is it? 1.5, 2.5 remix, whatever.
Yeah,
All
the
that
collections.
shit.
Here's the problem. I have a potential solution, but the core problem is the Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories is a difficult game. Like, would you say we approximately have a similar skill level when it comes to playing video games?
I think we excel in different areas, but yes, we can.
Well, let's say in terms of action RPGs.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Rechain of Memories is a difficult game, and I was never able to beat it without cheating.
Does it have inbuilt
So,
cheats?
no, not inbuilt.
That's a shame.
I potentially have a way of cheating, but it's extremely complicated.
Does it have, like, difficulty settings?
It does. However, it doesn't do much outside. The thing that makes the game difficult is not affected by the difficulty settings.
Right.
The difficulty settings, I think, just tweak the like health and damage amounts. But the thing that makes the game difficult is the card game mechanics.
Right.
For example, the final boss. I think there's others earlier, but the most glaring example is the final boss, where he afflicts you with doom, and you have to uh, do a certain sequence of card breaks. And if you don't do that sequence of card breaks, you just insta die.
Okay.
And it's something that requires a combination of good deck building, good reaction time, and fast hands. But I do think we should do it. I just don't know if it would be better to do it on an emulator just so we can cheat it. Or otherwise... Hang on, I have a potential solution as well to that, but... You know what? No, I've thought of a potential solution. So it's fine. But yeah, it's complicated. That said, there are some games we're going to have to emulate.
Like?
358 over 2 days. It's a good enough game, and it's not done justice by the just watching the cutscenes, which is how it exists in the remake or in the collection.
Right.
Like there's in-game dialogue and stuff that is not in the cutscenes. So it's something that's worth playing on its own.
Hmm.
Same with Kingdom Hearts Coded. Or Recoded, rather. It's a game that is worth playing outside of just watching the cutscenes.
Yeah.
You maggot! Dismount and face me!
Now, we don't have to worry about that for Kingdom Hearts X/E. That one is better in just pure cutscene form.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we also have to consider when we're going to start this.
Sorry you ever crossed me! Cover my withdrawal! I'll destroy you,
I mean, obviously, we're going to be having the break soon.
Yeah, after your break. But what are you thinking? Oh, do you want me to talk about the break?
I mean, yeah, we're just going to be taking a probably 4 or 5 week break. I mean, it's just going to be between the mid-season check-in for summer anime and the wrap-up. We'll still be doing D&D streams, but otherwise, yeah. Well, I will be taking a break. I think you might be doing some late night streams, Fuzzy.
Yeah. Yeah. A long time ago, I did in fact do a single late night stream.
Mm.
So, proof of concept is there. I just need to, as long as I can get someone to poke me in for it to actually start the stream, because
Yeah.
executive is a thing.
Hmm.
As long as that step is taken care of, it'll be quite easy for me to do a bunch of late night streams. In which I may also embark on my VTuber career. So let's look forward to that. But yes, because I also have classes, like in-person classes on Thursdays. Probably it's going to be a moratorium on Thursday stream. Uh, it should be possible for late night streams on Tuesdays and maybe Fridays or Saturdays.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be like yet, but we'll figure something out. Also, there is a possibility, depending on Jack's schedule, that I may be able to do some Saturday streams with Jack.
Mm.
Yes, our dear co-host Millington is taking a well-deserved break, and we encourage this. Just repeat after me. Positive work culture
Yeah.
to avoid burnout. Very important. Burnout is like one of the biggest killers of our generation.
Hmm.
Not necessarily even a killer in the literal sense, but just it's the burnout is the mind killer. It has successfully replaced fear.
Yeah. I mean, hell, my fucking parents are experiencing burnout at the moment.
Oh, would you like to talk about that?
I mean, it's the my mum is, so we've got like basically a or at my parents' house there is a like little 2-3 room like flat sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like a main room with a kitchen, there's a bedroom, and there's a bathroom, and she puts it up on Airbnb.
Yep.
But obviously, she is a 60-something-year-old woman having to, clean a flat on her own every, at worst, 2 or 3 days. And it's really getting to her, as well as having to look after the garden. They've had a lot of people staying in the main house in terms of friends and family this summer. They're now looking after my stepsister's dog for a couple of weeks. So she's getting really tired in that sense. My stepdad is consulting, and the business he is consulting for, the guy running it, is honestly not very bright in my mind, because he quite a bit of the company is resting on my 60-something-year-old stepdad and another 60-something-year-old engineer.
Oh
And,
no.
it's very much a case of once those two people, decide they've had enough, there's gonna be some fucking trouble in that company. And my
Oh, that's
stepdad
not
is
good.
not on a particularly long
Contract?
contract. Yeah, his contract is up in, I think it's like February, and
Oh no.
he is very much of the opinion right now that something has got to change if he's going to resign.
Oh, that's not good for anyone involved.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Combination of that, and there's been some really, really shit weather recently that's been fucking things up in terms of the garden, which was a big, which is one of the big motivators for why they wanted to move up to Scotland and to the house they are now in. Yeah, they've been feeling a little down recently as a result.
No, I totally get that. Home ownership is like incredibly strenuous on its own,
Yeah.
and to have an Airbnb on top of all that is just ugh. And beyond that, it's just yeah, I can totally see why it's been difficult.
Mm.
But yeah,
It's one of those things. I'm almost certain my mum's going to stop running that Airbnb by sort of autumn next year. Because I just don't think she'll have the sort of energy to and desire to do it anymore. I mean, they've talked about getting a dog, getting a puppy or a pair of puppies, and obviously that is a big undertaking energy wise.
yeah, I don't know that that's something I could handle at that age,
Mm.
honestly.
Not to mention we've got my family's cat, who is not the biggest fan of dogs, so they'd have to do a lot of work, making sure that the dogs and the cat get along fine. Though obviously you know I'd want to do my part in that sense, and it's definitely not something that's impossible. It's not like a deep-seated trauma related to dogs. He's just not the biggest fan of them.
Which totally understandable. I just it's always interesting to just remember how difficult it's become. And I say interesting in the interesting is a very generous way of putting it. It's basically just a crime how difficult it's become to just maintain a
Mm.
decent lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, they're having troubles with council tax because council decided to change what band their house is in randomly, and then said, "Hey, you gotta back pay, everything that because they changed it, and then they didn't tell my parents for like 6 months, and then they're like, "Oh, you got to pay for that 6 months now." So they've got to
Yeah, because that
pay.
makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
they got to pay a fuck ton of money. And then they got a fucking letter recently from their energy company that didn't have their name, didn't have their full address on, saying, "Oh, you owe £1,000 to Scottish Power," and it's just like, the fuck we do? Like my parents have solar panels as well, so they're actually in credit because they overpay as a result. So yeah, they're dealing with a lot of stuff at the moment. So yeah, they've my mum was talking about maybe moving out of Scotland, but I don't think they will. I think it's just an impulsive reaction based on sort of the stress of this
It does
summer.
seem like it does seem like as bad as that is, it's still better than the alternative.
Well, the other thing is, I'm the only one of really their family who is in Scotland. Everyone else is down in England in a not closely together, but certainly in an area where if they picked the right spot, they could get to everyone relatively easily. So there is an element of that, especially considering both my stepsisters now have kids. My brother has his own house, and I'm stagnating in a pizza delivery job.
Look, mental illness requires time.
Hmm.
Uh,
And energy that
I mean,
capitalism doesn't allow me to have.
yeah, like I'm functionally a NEET. Just because I'm technically going to school doesn't mean I'm not any less of a burden on my family. So you're at least you've got that one over on me. But yeah, I just it's becoming more and more difficult to like function
Hmm.
in society. And
I mean, that's the other thing, as I said, I was talking to my mum about the company that my stepdad is working for, and the fact that they really should be hiring somebody at least a little younger than my stepdad, to help out and learn the ropes, so that when my stepdad does decide to fully retire, you know things won't go to shit. And apparently my stepdad did mention, hey, why don't we contact one of the local universities and get some university students in on an internship or a work placement sort of thing. And the guy turned it down, and when he's been asked why he
well, of
hasn't been
course,
hasn't been hiring younger people, he's like, oh, there's not the people in the job market. And I had to interject there and say, that's bullshit, and I know that's bullshit. That is the
yeah,
cry of the boomer and Gen Xer. Oh, the workforce isn't there. Horse shit, the workforce isn't there. The workforce is there. You just refuse to hire them because you have such high standards.
people just don't want to work anymore. SMH my head.
Yeah, like it's either you don't have the experience, which you can't get because they're asking 21-year-olds for 10 years experience, or they're saying you're overqualified for the position, which is like fucking what, or they're advertising for a job that they never intend to actually fill.
Yeah, it's just like the rampant capitalism has definitely had an indelible and incalculable effect on the world we live in.
This
And it's important to all
just to interject. This
uh,
dude's vibing.
look that sometimes that's just what they do. What else? I mean, in fairness, what else are they gonna do with their time and lives?
I mean, he just watched all of his friends die, and he's just sort of looking around, just like, is there anybody here to help, or what?
It's a very heavy Skyrim guard energy.
Yeah.
Must have been the wind and all that.
Man, just as an aside, I genuinely, on subsequent playthroughs of Skyrim, anytime a fucking guard said, oh, I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took an arrow to the knee, I killed them.
No, do you know what you should have done?
Mm-hmm.
Because it would have been funny.
Shot them in the knee.
You shot them in the knee with an arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, got an arrow to the knee is meant to be some kind of euphemism for marriage.
Yes. Also, the initial prevalence of the line was in fact a glitch,
Hmm.
but it just became a medic. But yes, an arrow to the knee is apparently an old-timey euphemism for, the old ball and chain, as it were.
Yeah, well,
Sexism.
I made a lot of widows.
Do you know what's very okay? You want to? Do you want me to mention something that's very interesting? And I don't know if this is inherent to the culture or if it's more of a web novel ascended meme thing.
All right.
In Chinese web novels, there's sort of an obsession with widows being very attractive.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a cultural thing or what,
Yeah.
but there's just a constant mention of like apparently widows are attractive? Question mark for some reason. I don't know. It's very unclear what the exact meaning of it is, but it's like they're always there's a common recurring character archetype is the attractive widow for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what it is, why it is, where it comes from. It just sort of seems to exist in a vacuum.
Hmm.
So yeah, why do you think that might be?
I honestly do not know. Like, that's. I mean. Maybe there's an element of proving you're superior over another man, sort of thing? I don't know. Um. Maybe there's, like. Oh, she's, proven to be a good wife because the only reason she's single is because the dude bit the dust rather than, divorce.
That is one of the more likely ones that I'm thinking of. Yes.
I cut you in half! How are you alive?
My brothers
Listen,
together.
orc magic is capable of many things.
I cut him in half! I cut his arm off!
Oh, well, that's just a flesh wound.
You fucking moron! I'm just gonna kill you again. This is the guy that fucking betrayed me as well, by the way.
I mean, what were you expecting?
Well, everyone else has stayed loyal thus far, and he's the first one who betrayed me, so I was expecting a bit more from him. He's also a coward who doesn't like executions, so... Oh, great, he's bringing friends now.
He has friends?
Minions?
Well, yes, that seems more appropriate.
You dishonor the steel you carry.
Did your character have friends?
Not really.
Yeah, Talion doesn't really. His name is Talion, right?
Italian, yeah. Oh, great, he's gonna death defy as well. Oh, great, there's another fucking prick up here as well.
Yeah, Talion seems like the kind of person who has,
Okay, who did that? Rolling everywhere.
Now, here's my question.
Yeah?
You think Talion and Celebrimbor are banging? Just, like, out of boredom?
I also killed you! And now I have 3 fucking bitches to deal with here. Which is not ideal.
Do you think if Tolkien was born in the modern day, he'd have gay elves?
Yes.
Are you sure? You seem to be giving him a lot of credit.
Here's the thing. like, Tolkien wrote so reverently about elves. There's an element of he's gay for them already.
Well, no, because he's elf. Just because he's elf sexual doesn't mean he's necessarily uh, gay in the sense that there's a lot of lady elves too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I don't
So,
know, the way he wrote about fucking Legolas, I think he'd go gay for Legolas.
oh, absolutely. In the same way that we know for a fact that Galadriel absolutely tops old Teleporno.
Outfought by man,
I will never
I die a traitor.
stop finding his name funny.
Right, stay dead this time. I cut your leg
Though
off,
not
stab you through the back.
though honestly, it's not just that his name is funny, it's also that he was like living probably the most pleasant life in. We've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
How he was literally a house husband to one of the strongest people in Middle Earth, and his job was just sit there and look pretty.
Yeah.
As like the quote unquote king, but if we're gonna be real, he was the queen consort. Or actually, is it queen consort or king consort when the ruler is the queen and then the dude is the consort?
King Consort, I think.
Yeah, he was allegedly the king, but actually the king consort of one of the last remaining elven kingdoms in Middle Earth. It's just like my man's was just chilling,
Yeah.
and he always had an out, right? Like he at any point he could have just chosen to yeet himself from Middle Earth and just go back to Valinor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he was ever particularly desperate either. Because it was very much known that Morgoth wasn't going to be winning Dagor Dagorath anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where, how does he lose? The answer is he doesn't, quite frankly.
No, he definitely seems like he's, got a pretty fucking good thing going.
And the most egregious part of all this is that his name is Teleporno. I will never get over that. Am I fixating on that too much?
Yeah. I mean, I still sometimes chuckle about that, about one fucking dwarf in Dragon Age Origins who just says good day to you in a funny way.
Is the funny way vaguely Irish?
No, it's just sort of a good day to you. Good day to you. I can only assume I was
That
very
is funny, though.
I can only assume I was very sleep deprived the first time I started laughing.
No, that's totally understandable. Sometimes That's just how the human brain works.
Hmm.
I still don't know why this is, but the name Glorfindel just pops into my head over and over and over and over again, just in completely non sequitorial contexts.
Hmm.
Was kind of a badass though.
Yeah.
He killed a Balrog.
Pretty fucking
That's just
metal.
like, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you didn't even realize that's technically possible
Mm.
because he was an elf and he killed a Maiar or a former Maiar because that's what the Balrogs are, right? They're Maiar.
I believe so. Like, I do think it's like like they were corrupted down, by Morgoth. Though again, I'm not 100% of the lore. I haven't checked it for a while. Um,
I also saw a post that was like it was a Tumblr repost that was like just Sam chatting with the fellows in the gray
yeah, yeah.
in Valinor
Hmm.
about how yeah, so I killed Shelob, and then Gandalf's like, I'm sorry, what?
Hmm.
You killed what? So I actually saw a good point made in the comments. He didn't kill Shelob, he wounded her. However, given the fact that Shelob has enemies, she was blinded and then badly wounded.
Hmm.
It's entirely likely that she just got picked off by someone
Do you like
or
Mount Doom?
something. Huh?
Do you like Mount Doom? I'm
I do have a fondness for Mount Doom.
I'm presuming it's Mount Doom anyway. It's a big fucking fiery volcano in the middle of Mordor.
Yeah, you'd think there'd only be
So many
a
of those,
finite
yeah.
number of those. Yeah. But the most important question about Mount Doom is do you think Gollum lived?
No.
It would be really funny if they somehow tried to retcon Gollum into being alive somehow. Somehow Gollum returned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be really funny if that was the sequel to Gollum the game.
Oh god, don't remind me of Gollum the game that somehow had worse fucking graphics than the fucking PS2 Lord of the Rings games.
Not only were the graphics worse than the PS2 Lord of the Rings games, the game was worse.
Yeah. I just don't know how that happens in the year of our Lord. What was it, 2023?
The answer may surprise you, or it may not surprise you at all. It's capitalism.
Hmm.
The answer is capitalism.
It's always capitalism now.
Now, it's been a. The problem has been capitalism for like ever,
I
basically.
feel like before there was at least, occasions where it wasn't necessarily capitalism.
I guess. I still feel like it was mostly capitalism.
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, hmm, there's also bigotry to think about. Bigotry is also a reason for things being shit.
Well, yes, but do you have a specific example in this context that you are thinking of?
Not necessarily. I was just trying to think of. Well, I mean, the Nazis.
Okay, elaborate on that.
Well, I was just trying to think of because obviously the reason, as you said, capitalism is a big reason for things being shit, and I feel like that's um, been the case more often than not since Reagan and Thatcher. Um,
They did ruin everything for the rest of us, yes.
yeah, all decided to do a very bad thing. Um, and so I was trying to think of what's a bad thing that wasn't necessarily capitalism, before Reagan. The Nazis?
Very similar energy, though, which will make a lot of Americans very angry.
Well, Reagan shouldn't have been such a shit then.
He really shouldn't have been.
And such a racist shit at that. America, the country, shouldn't be so fucking racist.
I've seen it all.
Yes, especially considering the fact that it was literally built off of the
Different.
backs of immigrants.
Yeah.
Not only was it built off of
Oh boy,
immigrants,
this is bad.
blood, sweat, and tears, it was built off of not only immigrants, but also the exploitation of minorities. So, in fairness, while yes, they shouldn't be so racist, it does sort of make sense.
Yeah.
Because they were, on the one hand, they were built by immigrants. On the other hand, those immigrants did genocide and exploit minorities. Well, the natives of the land, and turn them into a horrifically oppressed minority group.
Yeah.
In hindsight, America was kind of cooked from day one. If you think about
yeah,
it,
that first fucking speech did not help.
like Thomas Jefferson, man who famously wrote or said the line, "Every man is entitled to freedom, liberty, and equality," and also owned like 80 slaves.
I wasn't even talking. I wasn't even. I was going further back than Jefferson. I was saying the first fucking Puritan settlers on the boat.
Yeah.
And the whole fucking like country on a hill thing.
Yeah, once you realize that America was built by Puritans,
Things will make a
suddenly
lot
lot
more
of
sense.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh boy. But yeah, if we're saying that the reason for America being such shits is Puritans and slave owners and all that shit, what's Britain's excuse?
I mean, they started the. They did banish the Puritans, but they did start, or at least were heavily involved in the start of the slavery thing. So, you know,
Yeah. I mean, the wild thing is that because we never really brought slaves back to England, slavery itself was not actually illegal until like 20th century at the earliest. I think it might have actually been 21st century. Yeah,
I mean, the basic.
Britain sucked. Well, I say sucked as if it doesn't still suck.
I mean, at this point, it feels like the moral of the story is just the world is a mess, and the reason is everyone,
Mm.
but mostly Europe.
Europe did not do a lot of good stuff for, the world. As much as it might want to claim that it did. Anywho, on that, wonderfully,
Depressing note.
yeah. Um,
It's about time for us to end, I think, right?
no, it's still got about 15 minutes left. We sort of got
So
off
if we're not
topic
ending
on
on depression, what are we ending on?
I mean, we sort of got off topic on the whole Kingdom Hearts front.
Kingdom Hearts thing? I think it's mostly because we've covered it, since you seem to like have a good grasp on the
Yeah.
initial conceit of Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, that's the thing. As said, Kingdom Hearts 1 is not the most complicated. I feel like I do have a fairly simple grasp on it. It's once you get past that I'm more sort of like, okay, this seems a little weird. But obviously we're going to be playing that, so there's not much point in discussing it now.
Yeah. And also remember that once we do play Chain of Memories, there's going to be a lot more to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And push comes to shove, we'll do another one of these streams where I play something like this and you tell me
I
what the
try and
fuck's going on.
explain. Yeah. Yes. That is always an option. But I think that the most important takeaway of Kingdom Hearts is that sometimes it's necessary to have someone to manage the genius slash visionary.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, Kingdom Hearts is largely a product of no one really
Stopping
telling
Nomura.
Nomura.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one telling Nomura no. Which is maybe not the best idea in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't seem like it, does it?
Because while... So here's the thing. Kingdom Hearts 3 is an incredible game.
Hmm.
It's fun to play, and it delivers on everything that it promised to deliver on. It ties together every loose story thread. Like, it is the perfect culmination for the Xehanort slash Seeker of Darkness saga. Because it is a saga.
Mm-hmm.
And while the story can be confusing at times, it is very much a good story that is told well, for the most part. So, the problem is that it took God knows how long to get to that point.
Yes.
In a situation where it shouldn't have necessarily taken that long. Like, granted, because the game took as long as it did, the final product that we got was much better than what we would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of people would have been happy with a slightly worse final product if they could have just gotten it earlier. And I think something similar is going to be happening with Kingdom Hearts 4 and Verum Rex. because those games are in development.
Mm,
It's just that we have no idea what's going on at all
yeah.
with them.
I mean, obviously, I don't know whether this is to the same extent or not, but well, I mean, to be fair, you know, Kingdom Hearts fans are at least eating better than Shenmue fans, because they had to wait a fucking age for their game, and it was apparently pretty crap.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, most people are eating better than Shenmue fans.
And I still remember watching fucking TFS play the first one of that, and it just seemed like a really weird game.
It's because it is. It's very much a. It's a product of its time, obviously, but even more than being a product of its time, it's just it's it's ambitious in a way that other games have just done better
Yeah,
in the modern era. Just it's good, but it's not so good that it is beyond reproach.
yeah,
And even then, it's like once Shenmue 3 actually came out, everyone realized, oh, okay, Yakuza's just this but better.
yeah,
A lot of it is a scenario of how Shenmue crawled so Yakuza could fly.
hmm Good old Yakuza. I hope the TV
Yakuza.
series they're doing of it will be decent.
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to get a Yakuza TV series wrong simply by virtue of the fact that there's a lot of uh, historical, like, there's a lot of examples of it being done well.
Yeah,
It's hardly going to be the first Yakuza-based TV series. It's hardly going to be the first comedic Yakuza-based TV series.
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: to do Yakuza successfully, you have to obviously have the serious story stuff, which is treated as seriously as it deserves. But you've also got to have, the
The absolutely nutty.
the absolutely stupid fucking unconsequential bullshit that is also treated as seriously as the main story.
Yeah. And that's,
I mean, that's
something
that's
that
that's
is
what sold me on Yakuza was playing the fucking RC car thing with Kiryu whenever you went off the fucking track, Kiryu reacting like he just lost his son.
look. RC car racing is serious business.
Yeah. But that's the energy that any Yakuza property has to have.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. But and it's energy that for the most part the Yakuza series does achieve.
Mm. No, absolutely. Again, because it treats things like a bunch of fucking dudes in diapers coming to kick your ass, like, fully seriously.
Do you know what we actually this is something you can do later, but if I can figure out if you can help me at some point figure out the PS4 stuff. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. It's Fist of the North Star, and it's apparently a sidequel or a side parallel universe where it does cover the entirety of the story. It's apparently a canon what if scenario.
Alright.
And Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is made by the Yakuza devs and is a Yakuza like Fist of the North Star game.
Yes, I did hear about that, yeah.
And it is a PS4 exclusive, and I own it. And I think it's not even that expensive. I think it's like it's a game price, but I got it for like $20 on sale.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's one of those games that needs to be experienced to be believed, and I think it'd be really fun to do that on a stream.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't want to do it on my own, so I'm not going to do it during my solo era. But it is, I think, going to be a lot of fun if we do eventually decide to do it.
Yeah, I mean the PS PlayStation streaming thing isn't complicated though. You just got to make sure you've got good enough and like consistent enough internet for it. Because it was in somewhat inconsistent for me until I basically uh connected my PS4 up via Ethernet. So
Yeah, the problem with me is going to be that my router is upstairs and my room is downstairs, and as a result, I only have one Ethernet cable running all the entire length to my PC. That's going to be hard to.
I will I will what's the word I'm looking for? I will enlighten you with the my probably, one of my favorite pieces of tech that I've got, which is a pair of plugs where plug one in the room with your router
The
and
multicap?
connect it up with Ethernet cable. Plug one in the room with the PS4, connect that with the Ethernet cable, and whap bam, you've basically got an Ethernet connection without having to be, fully connected in that sort of sense.
All right,
Because that's
if
what
you can just tell me.
that's what I'm using at the moment. Is because my PS4 is not in the same room as my router.
I mean, if you can just send me a link to like an Amazon page
Yep,
for one of
nope.
those.
I will do that once we finish. Which, to be honest, let's just call it
We
now.
should
We're
we should
we're
wrap up.
only a
Yeah.
couple of minutes out, so yeah. Let me just get over to here so that can raid, because we started a little bit later. You know who's live? Good old
Whooms.
no whacking.
Oh, cool.
At least I thought he was. Is he not? Oh, he might not be. Shit. Shit. I was all, fucking.
I mean, I guess there's our eternal standby then.
No, you know what? Next good one. Blind Wave, the reaction channel I watch. One of the guys is currently playing Star Wars Outlaws.
Well, that's a hell of a game in many ways.
So yes, thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, so I'm not going to be available to stream on Thursday because I'm going to be out celebrating a friend's birthday. So Fuzzy, if you wanted to start your late night streams on Thursday,
I was actually gonna say that might be a good day to do a test for my late night stream.
So yeah, I mean that you are free to do that. Saturday and Sunday. Sunday will be our summer 2024 anime mid-season check-in. It is a couple of weeks late, but we're mostly still in the mid-season period, I would say.
Mid-season is a very broad term.
Yeah. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and all that YouTube stuff.
Like, subscribe, click that bell icon, and leave a comment if you enjoyed the video.
And otherwise, we shall. Well, Fuzzy will hopefully see you on Thursday, and we shall send you off to Blind Wave. Good night.
Bye-bye.